Welcome back everyone. I know we're all eagerly awaiting the return of NBA basketball, and we are slowly but surely getting there. Training camp begins for some teams at the end of September, and then officially begins on October 3rd for every team. Again, we still do have a little ways to go yet, but it's really not that far away at this point, and that's led to many players ramping up their off-season workouts, going from individual skill training to now doing much more 5-on-5 action. And although it's pretty rare to see 5 players from one team alone playing 5-on-5 together, that's what we got from the Lakers earlier this week, with those 5 including rookies Moines Hodge and Jalen Hood, new additions Cam Reddish and Jaxson Hayes, and then returning lockdown wing defender Vanderbilt, all of which are under the age of 25 years old. I mean, that's probably not the combination of guys you were expecting, but I think it's really cool to see them putting in work together. They each have their own individual goals and expectations this season, but they're fully aware of the chemistry they need to build as well. Now, they likely won't be spending much time on the court together, but they do share a common goal of reaching their potential. And with 3 of them in particular having a lot to prove this season, it's great to see them taking that very seriously. And with that in mind, we're going to talk about the individual outlook for each of them this season, their pathway to playing time, and then what would be an achievable goal for each of them as well. But real quick before we get into it, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could take a brief moment to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But without wasting any more time here, let's dive right into it. And we'll begin by talking about Moines Hodge, who I think a lot of people tend to forget about. I mean, I really don't blame you if you're not too familiar with a two-way contract player, but I really think you should be with this one. If you've been keeping up with my content for the past couple of months now, then you'll likely know that I'm very high on Moines Hodge. I know he might be a bit older than your typical rookie at 24 years old already, but that's really not a bad thing. It was only a couple of years ago that they picked up a different 24-year-old rookie on a two-way contract that turned out to be pretty darn good for them. And I'll give you one hint here, he just got done playing for Team USA. Now, I'm not saying that Hodge will provide the immediate kind of impact that Reeves did for them, but it does show that a 24-year-old rookie can still provide plenty of value, both in the short term and long term as well. However, he will have a much more difficult pathway to playing time compared to what Reeves did. Unlike the Lakers' 2021-22 team that lacked reliable wing depth, that is no longer the case with their team today. I mean, I wouldn't call their shooting guard position the deepest one on their team, but it's still packed with plenty of talent. They of course have Reeves locked in as their number 1 shooting guard, an open competition behind him between Christie and Reddish, and then the loser of that battle falling to 3rd in their depth chart. Now, a guy like Reddish could play at small forward as well, but it still won't be easy for Hodge to find playing time here. It would likely take an injury or two for him to find legitimate rotation minutes. And knock on wood for them staying healthy, but that does not mean that Hodge could not make their team to begin with. I mean, he's already under a two-way contract, but he could be elevated even further with a good training camp showing. I kind of doubt they'll go that route, but I would not completely rule it out either. He's a great point of attack defender, which Darvin Ham loves by the way, a great 3-point shooter who shot 40% during Summer League on nearly 8 attempts per game, and all around appears to be a perfect role player for their team. But now moving on to Jalen Hood, and much like Hodge, he will have a very difficult pathway to playing time, arguably even more difficult than the one that Hodge will have to go through. But unlike Hodge again, he is not a 24-year-old rookie. Hood is only 20 years old and is under a 4-year contract with the team, including 2 of those years being fully guaranteed. And with that in mind, it's not fair to even expect him to do anything at the NBA level this season. It would take multiple injuries for him to get playing time within their rotation, and I mean multiple of them. Because not only do they have D'Lo and Vincent who play here, but they of course have LeBron and Reeves who play at point guard as well, leaving Jalen Hood without any real pathway for playing time. In my opinion, a great goal for him would be figuring out the speed of the NBA and the G League, along with improving his shooting efficiency. Despite looking pretty good as a playmaker and defender during Summer League, he shot only 34% from the field and 22% from 3. And no matter what way you want to look at it, that simply won't cut it for an NBA point guard. You practically need to be a good 3-point shooter to play a point guard in today's NBA, and that's something that Hood will have to improve at before he gets a real shot. But now moving on to Jaxson Hayes, and following the Lakers signing Christian Wood, the outlook for Hayes is significantly different than it was before. Rather than being their primary backup center, he will now be splitting minutes with Christian Wood. And although both of them might be spending a little bit of time at power forward as well, a majority of their minutes will likely come at center. I mean, they theoretically could play together on the court, but I'm not sure how much Darvin Ham will utilize that kind of lineup. He tends to prefer quicker, versatile defenders at power forward, and ones who can shoot the ball as well. I think that Hayes could fill the defensive part of that, but it would take a big step for him to fill the three-point shooting aspect, and especially if you would hope to spend time on the court with Anthony Davis. I know a lot of fans want to see it, but they simply can't run their 4-out, 1-in styled offense with those two on the court together. Neither of them are reliable three-point shooters, and therefore cannot share the court offensively. In my opinion, the pathway for playing time for Hayes will be through his defense, and if Christian Wood fails to become even average defensively for them, then I could picture Hayes taking away minutes from him. But regardless, I like the fact that he and Christian Wood are very different players. It might have negatively affected Hayes' playing time, but I think it will help them from a team standpoint. But now moving on to Cam Reddish, and like we've talked about before, the pathway for playing time for him will be beating out Max Christie. Now he could maybe push Taurean Prince for playing time eventually, but Prince will pretty much be guaranteed playing time to start out the year with, though that won't be the case for Christie. I for one believe that Christie currently has the edge over Reddish due to their familiarity with him, but there could definitely be a battle here, and it's one that I'm very interested to watch play out over training camp. At the end of the day though, it will all come down to defense and three-point shooting. For a backup shooting guard playing alongside ball-dominant players, that's pretty much all you need from them, which has been a very difficult role for Reddish to fill up until this point. And in order for him to overcome that, he will need to prove that he can provide reliable defense and three-point shooting. In my opinion, that's really what it will come down to here, and if he fails to do it, then that will lead to Reddish riding their bench. But now finishing up with Jared Vanderbilt, the only returning Laker featured in the pickup game. And while again I was not really expecting it, I like the fact that he was spending time getting familiar with them. But the pathway for playing time for Vanderbilt will of course be defense and corner three-point shooting, though many believe that his spot will be given to Rui Hachimura. Now I for one don't agree with it from a fit standpoint, but his new contract could lead to him earning that right to begin with. And if that turns out to be true, then Vanderbilt could be spending a lot of time on the court with a guy like Jaxson Hayes, who he likely will be coming off the bench around the same time with. In regard to a goal for Vanderbilt though, I think we can all agree it comes down to three-point shooting with him. That is what ended up getting him played off the court during the postseason, and he really needs to take another step forward with it. We all know about the value he provides on defense, but he simply can't be on the court during important moments without a three-point shot. And in my opinion, a great goal for him would be hitting over 35% of his corner threes specifically. But to wrap everything up here though, the Lakers have a lot of youth within their rotation, and in order for each of them to make an impact, they will have to fill a very specific role for this team, which they already appear to be preparing for. With all of that being said though, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the outlook for these five going into next season? Comment your thoughts down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.